such a delight to come to your studio.
Oh, it's a delight to have you both. My pleasure. I would like to make a suggestion, that is that perhaps you should make this your official stop yearly when you do your shows.
Well, thank you. Can you talk a little bit now, Richard, about the process and your work? These are works on paper.
Yeah. It has evolved, and the idea of cutting form out of paper is a fascinating thing. The trick is to get the right paper. The trick is to get the right way of doing the paper. My color and all of the kinds of things that I do that are the smaller works that become actually models or maquettes for the larger works are done very much like that. They're done by cutting paper and by gluing the paper down. The paper itself is interesting in that it is paper that is painted. It's painted with acrylic paint, and it is done in a certain way, and then basically becomes the color palette for the maquettes as we're working with the paper cutouts. So there is just as somebody, an artist would have, let's say, a paintbrush and have a palette and have color and paint the paint onto the canvas. What I am doing is creating a palette, all right, but the palette is right here. It is these pieces of paper, and the interesting thing is that the paper can be studied just simply as color. It's a very formalistic kind of experience where you're all of a sudden looking at pure color. And isn't this a wonderful small work, but also isn't it a wonderful model or maquette for a larger work? There are certain pieces that become maquettes for canvases. And again, the wonderful ability to sort of study the work before investing all the time, the energy, and the money, and so forth to do a larger piece is such an advantage. Opaque projector down there that's probably about 50 years old, and it is projected, that line composition is projected onto the canvas in a dark room, and then the same paint and the same brush is actually used to paint the canvas, which is a lot of fun. Most interesting parts about the doing of the painting, once there's a projection of the composition and so forth that happens, of course, from the smaller maquette work, is that the actual painting of the canvas then happens with these wonderful easels that I designed that actually rotate this way. They rotate this way too, but they rotate around this way. You can actually spin the canvas around, which is even more dramatic when the canvas is even bigger. But it's really necessary to be able to do that. The easel, by the way, I'll just spin it around here. This is what it looks like from the back, which is sort of different than most easels. But what happens is that once the lines, the orientation lines are drawn from the projection, the actual rectangular shapes are painted by being able to put the canvas in a particular position and then using an artist's tape basically to mask off these areas, and then they're painted exactly like the paper actually that we start out with for the smaller work, with several, I must say, a little bit clever, I think.